Good afternoon, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with a Hurricane Earl afternoon update for Sunday, August 29th, 2010. As of the 5 p.m. advisory, we have maximum sustained winds up to 85 miles an hour. Movement is to the west-northwest at 14, starting to slow down a little bit, but west-northwest is good for Puerto Rico. We'll take that. So here's the official forecast track as of 5 p.m. Nothing really changed, and I'll show you with the models in a little bit. There really hasn't been much of a change today. We'll have that west-northwest track, and it'll start turning to the northwest, and this will keep it away from Puerto Rico, which is good news. We do still have hurricane watches in effect for Puerto Rico, but looks like the core of the hurricane winds will stay to the north of Puerto Rico. There is now a hurricane warning in effect for the British Virgin Islands, which are the northernmost islands of the Virgin Islands. So we could get scraped by some hurricane force winds possibly there. And of course our hurricane warning is still in effect for the northernmost Leeward Islands. So here's the forecast track. Nothing's changed much. We've seen the cone shift ever so slightly east today because the consensus has really come a little east today. And so that's taken almost North Carolina out of the 4 to 5 day cone. But you can see such a wide spread here. I mean, this is where all that error is up to days 4 and 5. This still has New England in the cone of uncertainty, southeastern New England, and then of course Nova Scotia and Newfoundland are up here. So we'll have to see. Some of the global models have sped up Earl, so this could actually, if they are correct, this could be out of here for Labor Day weekend. By the time the weekend starts, this could be up in Canada. So we'll have to see. There's some discrepancies on speed right now. So that's the official forecast track. Again, I don't pretty much with this track, I will tell you my 3 areas of the 3 most important areas that I think that Earl could affect. The first, number 1, is going to be the Canadian Maritimes. That includes Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. They're the top ones here, number 1. Number 2, I would put southeastern New England in here. Basically, when I mean southeastern New England, I mean near the Cape area, Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts. That would be my second most possibility. And then the last third would be the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Starting to feel a little better about North Carolina with the model runs today and just looking at the way the atmosphere is setting up here. But still can't take them out of the picture. But they would be number 3 in priority. All right, let's go to the satellite loop, and you can see Earl getting much better developed. The last few frames, you could see a nice big central dense overcast really blowing up right in these last loops right here, following the forecast points perfectly today, which is, again, good news for Puerto Rico. Our friends in Puerto Rico look like they're going to be spared here by Hurricane Earl. And you can see the official forecast track does bring this to a major hurricane as it passes north of Puerto Rico, and it's looking like this is going to continue to ramp up overnight, and by tomorrow morning we could be looking at a Category 2 hurricane passing just to the north of the Leeward Islands here. And then here's the bigger picture again. You could see this is where that weakness is, and this is what's going to be turning. You could almost see the winds here moving off to the south here a little bit. The upper of clouds here moving to the south, all in here. And this is where that weakness is, and this is where it's going to start turning to the northwest, sparing the Bahamas as well, which is good news for them. And then we'll wait for our trough out to the Midwest. Will that push Earl out to sea and spare the East Coast altogether? Again, still a little too early to tell there, and we'll have to be tweaking that forecast the next few days and see where Earl finally lands. And out here is possibly tropical depression number 8. A little bit of dry air. You remember all that dry air that Earl was going through early in its history here. So it's affecting Fiona today. Good banding, good circulation, but not enough convection yet to be declared a tropical depression. I thought we had it late last night. I thought we possibly had it this morning, but boy, it's on the edge there. So we should expect to see a tropical depression here in the next 24 hours. It'll get into a better environment as it moves west, and if it could stay away from Earl, it could develop. We'll have to see how close it gets and whether Earl's outflow will affect it, because Earl is forecast to become a very large hurricane right in here. Looks like a nice big anticyclone is going to develop over, and we could be seeing a Category 4, easily Category 4 hurricane up in this area right here. if you thought the waves were good this weekend along the southeast coast, wait till you see what we have in store for this week. Surfing should be pretty incredible here along the southeast and east coast if Earl goes as planned. This was from earlier this afternoon, and you could see eye wall starting to close up. Hurricane hunters did show that the northwest was open, but you could see starting to close off. And this is about 3-4 hours old, so it's really going to start closing off. And who knows, maybe by tomorrow we could see an eye on the satellite imagery. That would be pretty awesome. And here we go, and this is the latest latest radar here out of the islands. And this island right here is Barbuda, right? Barbuda right here, and then we have St. Martin right here. So this hurricane's located about 150 miles east of Barbuda, which is right here. Looks like the eye is going to pass just to the north of that island. It's going to move just like this, and then just clip St. Martin as well, and then north of the Virgin Islands, and then north of Puerto Rico. So this is the track right here. You can see the eye. Real, look at that, looking really good on radar. This is where the strongest winds are. So Barbuda, you'll be getting into that strongest winds overnight tonight. And then again, this western eye wall will scrape Barbuda, and then St. Martin over here, and then the northern, then the British Virgin Islands will probably get scraped by that western eye wall as well. So they could be experiencing some hurricane force winds as well. U.S. Virgin Islands, you'll probably be spared the worst of the hurricane winds and may not even see any probably tropical storm winds. So good news for them as well. We could actually put this into motion real quickly here. And there we go. And you'll see the movement here. If we could get this moving, maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay. So as you can see, maybe we're not going to get it into motion. That's kind of moving into motion. But anyway, we'll skip on to the next frame here. Model runs. Okay, here we go. Again, consensus, still off the coast. This yellow here is the Canadian and UK Met. They've been the farthest west still, as they bring them pretty close to the coast here. The latest Euro, which I'll show in a minute, has moved slightly east, not much, but again, just off the coast here. And you can see our biggest concern right now for landfall would be Nova Scotia and Newfoundland right in here. So number 1 here, number 2, southeastern New England, and then number 3 would be the Outer Banks of North Carolina. By the way, this is not coming to Florida or anywhere in the southeast coast here. So if anybody's telling you it's coming to Florida or Georgia or South Carolina, they are incorrect. The storm is not going to be moving that way. Latest early run models. Early run models still have been the farthest east, and 18Z is no exception. Everybody off the coast. Here was the Canadian run. As you can see, there goes Earl, right along the coast, makes landfall, just scrapes southeastern New England, and then makes landfall pretty close to Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, right in there. And then if you look at the later, there's Fiona. Where's Fiona going? Uh-oh. Is it going to go west? Is it going to go north? Stay tuned for Fiona. GFDL, consistent. Boy, GFDL's had this path for the last, 4 or 5 model runs. Brings it to almost a Category 5 hurricane here east of the Bahamas, and then hooks it out to sea. And here's our GFS model run. This was 12Z, and you could see east of Hatteras, east of New England, and then eventually makes landfall Newfoundland, and then takes Fiona out to sea. But you'll see the Euro doesn't take Fiona out to sea, and I'll show you that in a minute here. And now just to show you the differences, this was the upper 500 millibar upper level for 0Z, and then this was 12Z today. So this was last night at 0Z and 12Z. I'll show you that again, 0Z, 12Z. Not much differences, which is good news. We want to keep this consistent. We don't want to see any differences here in the models. If we could keep sending this out to sea, it'd be beautiful. So no real differences with the GFS from 0Z last night to 12Z today, which is good news for those of us along the East Coast. And last but not least, the Euro. And there goes Earl, making landfall again, Canadian Maritimes. And then there's Fiona, possible Fiona. Again, it hasn't even developed yet. And there's Fiona moving far west. Euro has been really farthest west out of all the models for possible Fiona. Again, long way off. My thinking would be, with the way the pattern's setting up and the pattern's changing, and with high pressure really starting to develop more strongly here. You would think that if Fiona does develop and she doesn't interact with Earl, another but, that it would move farther west. So, yeah, could that happen? Sure. Long way off. Let's not worry about it. If we live along the Gulf Coast, let's not get scared yet. This is a 10 days out. 100 things could change, but my thinking would be if Fiona can develop, it would move farther west, so it could be a threat to the United States down the road. And as far as Fiona, why didn't it get declared? Well, look at this morning. You saw last night it had a better well-defined circulation. See, the circulation center this morning was, this is from ASCAT, wasn't as tightly defined. Some stronger winds to the north, but you can see the circulation wasn't as strong as those thunderstorms kind of dissipated. So no tropical depression yet, but we should see one in about 24 hours. And then here is Fiona, possible Fiona today. And you can see convection kind of lacking, but has great spin to it. So all we need is to get that convection going, and it should. As it moves westward, waters will get warmer, dry air will go away, and I expect this to develop in about 24 hours. That's it for this afternoon. Thanks for listening. I will have another update for you guys early tomorrow morning. Have a good night.